Hello and welcome to the channel. Now, with the release of GT7 on your PS5, you may be wondering if you can play the game with a racing wheel. Well, the answer is yes, you can. Your options, however, are quite limited, and even more limited when it comes to being able to do it at a price that this wheel comes in at. This is the new RWA or Racing Wheel Apex, made specifically for the PS5, PS4 and PC. Meaning you can play racing games on your PS5, specifically the new GT7. But to note, I'm not talking about backwards compatible games. I'm talking games made specifically for the PS5 or PS5 versions of the games. So if you're after one of the best ways to simulate racing, then this may not be for you. This wheel does the job, and it does it well to a point. So join me as we turn up the lights, put this down on the tech desk, and give it a good look at the Racing Wheel Apex for your PS5 from Hori. Hello, welcome down onto the tech desk. As we said in the introduction, we're going to be looking at this today. This is the RWA Racing Wheel Apex from Hori. It's officially licensed, and this is a steering wheel for your PlayStation 5. Okay, so the difference between this and the RWA's, the original one, is kind of like it comes in a box more predominantly white, and down here you can see it says for the PS5, PS4 and PC. The original Apex doesn't say PS5. Okay, so very brief look at the box. That's what you get in it. Just for note, there is a Windows 10 app for it. I will be doing a separate video on that for you. If you want, comment down below if you want to have me to have a look at that, but I won't be running through that in this video. I'm just going to be connecting up and telling you my thoughts on the wheel connected up to the PS5. Okay, so there's the box. The wheel itself, here is the wheel, and you get some pedals and you get a clamp. First up, I just wanted to note that when mine came, mine didn't come with two things. The first thing it didn't come with were the suction cups. So you get some 4 suction cups it's meant to come with, 1, 2, 3 and 4 that fit on there. Mine didn't come with that. I don't know if it's meant to come with that. It says in the box it's meant to come with it, and in the listing it's meant to come with it. Mine didn't. And it also didn't come with a manual. So I contacted the seller. They said, yeah, no worries, here's the manual. That was for the old RWA, but fortunately, that still kind of like applies, although a lot of the buttons are different, so kind of had to work it out. So I'm missing 2 things. Okay, what we're going to do now in this section is we're just going to go over it. I'm going to talk about the feel, the quality build, and then we're going to put it over onto the PS5, give it a play, and I'll show you some of the settings and stuff on how this thing works. So let's talk about the first look and feel of it then. When you first get it out, it's small, okay? It's only 11 inches wide. It's a small wheel, so it does feel quite toyish. I've had a look at the PXN wheel. It's a lot bigger. It feels a lot more substantial. But what I'm going to repeat in this video is this is cheap. Okay, I picked this up for around £100 on Amazon. It's around $100. So this is not for someone who is desperate to get into racing wheels seriously. This is for someone, for a beginner, because of the price. And I'm going to keep going back to the price. So here's the wheel. Then we have the PlayStation button there. It's a different setup from the original Apex. We have L2, L1, R1 and R2 there instead of the L1 and R1 up there. It would have been nice to be up there, to be honest, rather than here. But hey, D-pad's there. Nice D-pad. L3, share, options, and that's the assign button. So this is specific for the wheel, where you can assign different functions. We'll talk about that later. Triangle, square, X and O, fine. The wheel itself, it's all plastic apart from these bits on the side. Now these do feel quality, these feel lovely. So it's kind of got this grippy feel to it, and that does feel excellent. Over the back there we have the flappy paddles. They're okay, they're a bit plasticky and they're nice and clicky, but they're a bit plastic, but again, they do the job. This is all plastic. Yeah, it just feels a bit light and cheap, and if I can kind of show you this as well, look. It really wobbles as well, but okay, that's fine, that's not a problem. And on the bottom there, like I'm saying, we haven't got the suction cups for it, but it does have 6 rubber feet, so at least when you do put it on a desk, it has some sort of friction, but nothing like compared to if I had suction cups on there. On the back, this is the long USB cable to plug into your PS5. This is where the pedals talk about the pedals in a second. That's where the pedals plug in. On the top, we have some switches. So here is normal and steering. So this is kind of like it gives a list of games we have on, and then you have a steering mode for kind of like specific games that you want to be using it, and I'll talk about that later. And then we have the switch here for PS5, PS4 and PC, whichever one you're going to use. And then we have DP, LS and RS, which means the D-pad here can be changed to be the D-pad, the left stick or the right stick. And then you also get a desk clamp. So that's really easy to fit. You just pop that in there. You then screw it onto there, and then when you're mounting it to the desk, that clamps into the desk. Dead easy. And then finally we have the pedals. They're a little bit different from the original Apex in the fact that this bit here that you rest your feet on is solid. It doesn't flap. It doesn't go underneath. It's just a solid piece. It just clips on there like that. Yeah, they're not great. Again, it's a very cheap wheel, so I wouldn't expect them to be fantastic. They're all plastic. They don't travel that well. Nice bit of resistance though, I really appreciate that. And then on the bottom there, 2, 4, 6 rubber feet and 2 on the front there to keep it onto the floor or on the carpet. They're nothing to write home about. And as you can see, there's no clutch here. It's just accelerator and brake. So really long cable. This one here goes in. You plug this into the back of your wheel, like so. And then all you're going to do is you're going to plug this USB into your PS5. Really simple setup. So overall, apart from these rubber bits here, it's a bit cheap feeling, but it's cheap, so it will be. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to whip over, going to plug it into our PS5s, and I'm just going to talk to you about the modes and the settings of the wheel. So here we are set up then. I've got my wheel attached to my desk and I've got the pedals down. And I just wanted to show you how easy it was. So this is the USB from the wheel. All you're going to do is you're going to plonk it into the front or the back of your PS5, either one. And then it won't do anything until you press this button. And then once you press that button, it's connected. Okay, very quickly, we'll show you here. So I've got it at the moment, the settings on here. I've got the D-pad to be the D-pad. If I wanted it to be left stick, I can just flick it over to left stick. And as you can see there, it's kind of controlling as if it was a stick. But we don't want to do that. When I go into D-pad, there we go. So it's just much easier to do on the menus. So if I just quickly talk to you about how it feels, there's a few settings you can tweak and we'll go about those in a second. But in terms of steering it, there was the normal and the steering mode is only available in certain games, and GT7 is one of them. It just feels better to be able to put it into steering mode rather than normal mode. And if you do put it into normal mode, it will disconnect the controller, so you just need to press this button again to start it up. But other than that, when you flick into steering mode, it feels really nice and is nice and natural. And let's get into some of the settings that we can change for the wheel. So once you've got you sorted out, once you've decided on what's best for you, 270 or 180, you can actually adjust the sensitivity of this as well. So the way you do that is you hold down the assign button there till it flashes. It's flashing there, and then you press options and it flashes really quickly. And then you just want to make sure this button up here is onto LS, so the kind of D-pad selector is on LS. And then what you do is you press the D-pad up and down. It has 7 different sensitivities. So if I go all the way down to the bottom, this is the least sensitive. And then if we whack it all the way up to the top, this is the most sensitive. Okay, really quite sensitive. Okay, for me personally, I have it on 270 and I whack the sensitivity right down. This one goes down to the bottom setting. I just find this a more natural. For GT7, when I've been playing it this morning, it felt just much more natural. If you're going to want to whack the sensitivity up for certain games like Hot Wheels, you might want to do that. Kind of more arcadey races, you might want the sensitivity up a bit higher. Another thing to note on the wheel, the reason why that it's the cheaper price is that there is no force feedback. It is just springy either way when you're playing, and it doesn't vibrate as well. So if you're looking for something force feedback, you're going to need to go for a more expensive wheel. So another thing you can actually adjust on this is the dead zone. Now I know the old original Apex had dead zone issues, and it had a few issues with that. Personally, I haven't had an issue with dead zones on this. Okay, so as you can see, it's really quite accurate. For me, anyway, I've been using it fine and I haven't had to adjust the dead zones at all. Like I said, the 3 settings I have it in steering mode, I have it in 270, and I have the sensitivity whacked down, and it seems fine. When I was playing it over the past couple of weeks with Hot Wheels and WRC9, it seemed to be fine for there, and I just wanted to double check in GT7, and yeah, it's good. So let's get cracking. So I'm halfway in the middle of a race here, so I'm way behind. But as you can see, it's nice and accurate and pretty decent. I'm quite pleased with the performance. I was a little bit worried because the original Apex had some issues with dead zones. This one is performing stellar, so really pleased. So you can also adjust the sensitivity of the pedals as well, but the fact that there's hardly any travel, I'll be honest with you, I just left it as default and it seemed to be okay for me with using it, certainly for the arcade games. And GT7 this morning's been fantastic with it, so I just kind of left it at default. So that was my look then. Overall, it's not a bad wheel. Like I'm saying, I was a bit worried with the Apex and the dead zones, but that seems to be okay with this one. And as I said, no force feedback, which is quite a biggie for these wheels, but that comes in at the price. This is a cheap wheel, so you won't get that force feedback. So who do I think this is for? I think this is for someone who just wants a nice cheap wheel to play about with. If you're going to be taking racing games seriously and you kind of want a setup, or you're looking to do a setup in the future, then this may not be for you. You want to probably get a better wheel that's bigger, it just feels more substantial, and comes with a manual and suckers, I guess. But this one is brilliant for starters because it is so cheap. I mean, it feels cheap, it feels lightweight, the pedals aren't brilliant, but that's what you pay for. But it is a decent wheel, and I've been having a great time with it over the past couple of weeks, playing with it, and this morning as well on GT7. There we have it then. That was my look at this, the RWA, the Racing Wheel Apex from Hori, the officially licensed wheel. Like I said in the video, this is great for beginners. I mean, if you want to start using racing games with a racing wheel, I don't think you can go wrong with this because it's cheap. If you're going to want to take it a little bit more seriously, you're going to need spending more money. So I think this is perfect for the beginners. It has a few flaws, but it's decent enough. Okay, I'll leave links down below where you can get hold of it. Please do stick your thumbs up, do like and do subscribe, and until the next video, bye-bye.